Hey everybody, happy Monday. This week I'm going to talk about something different than I've discussed in the past, and that is supplements. And specifically, some of the top supplements that I personally think as a women's wellness practitioner that every woman should be including in her supplements regimen each day. I'll share a little bit more about why, and then just talk a bit about the idea of supplementation, for it, against it, and how you approach it. So first, it can be really overwhelming to figure out where to begin. There are thousands of supplements companies and brands. You may or may not know how to detect quality, what to look for. Dosing can be a whole nother thing, right? There's recommended dosing on the back of the bottle, but how do you know that that's what's right for you? How do you know if you even need a particular supplement and what it's supposed to do for your body? So first, I always recommend working with a qualified wellness practitioner before taking any sort of supplements, especially if you have existing and chronic health issues. Because you want to make sure that anything that you're taking is not going to conflict with any other medication you might be on, and that it actually is the thing that is going to help achieve the result you're trying to achieve for a given health issue. So you want someone who understands how the body works, how those nutrients that you're putting in your body are going to then be used by the body, and what the result is going to be. And again, as well as any contradictions that might exist with combining different supplements, medications, or supplements with each other. So start there. Second rule of thumb, always try to start with food as medicine first. Now, I'm a big fan of supplementation. I take supplements every day in a very specific regimen, and I adjust it as I can listen to what my body is telling me it needs and adjust course accordingly. But the number one way to get the nutrients that your body needs is always through the food that you are eating. Now, sometimes it can be really hard or almost impossible to get everything that you need from the food that you're eating, even if you're eating a perfect diet, depending on your particular health situation, right? If you have chronic deficiencies in certain nutrients that you didn't know about and they've been there for quite some time, if you have pretty significant chronic health issues that require a therapeutic dose of supplements in order to help get you balanced if you are trying to do things naturally versus taking pharmaceuticals, that may require additional supplements. If you aren't eating that healthy, then you already know you're probably not getting the minimum that you need each day to support your body's bodily functions. You need vitamins and nutrients and sometimes herbals and homeopathics to help the body do its job. The way we're made is for us to consume food, and then your body extracts the things that it needs from the food so it can do its job and keep working and chugging along. But as you can imagine, if we don't eat the way that we should, even if we try to eat the way that we should, the quality of the food that we just have access to today just simply is not what it was 20, 30, 50 years ago. And so the nutrient density is not what it used to be. Soil quality is not that great. You've got pesticides that are often a part of it. We're exposed to more and more toxins than we used to be. And all of that means that your body simply has to work harder to function. And in order to do its job, it needs more nutrients. That's just the bottom line. And we're getting less nutrients from our food, and the demand, though, for the nutrients is greater. Then you add on top of that stress. Stress depletes your body of nutrients. It requires it to work harder, especially your B vitamins, magnesium, antioxidants, and so forth. It also can disrupt the microbiome balance in your digestive system, which can cause the bad bugs to outweigh the good bugs, and that's where probiotics come into play. So there are a lot of factors that can contribute to having nutritional deficiencies or imbalances, some of which you may or may not be aware of, okay? But using food as medicine is always the best place to start, and then you want to add supplements as needed in a very targeted way on top of that to fill in any additional gaps or to give you the therapeutic level support that you need on a temporary basis, okay? So when you do decide to take supplements after all of that, there are a few that I think are pretty critical for all people, but especially women, and what our body needs to function optimally. So I'm going to share just a few of those today, and stick with me for Thursday. My blog post this week, I'll share my full top 10 list of supplements that I think every woman needs to be taking, along with recommended dosing. Now, I will note that usually I don't give a lot of dosing recommendations just generally, because I strongly believe that specific supplements and dosing should be tailored to an individual person. So just note that any dosing recommendations I share are very general. that may or may not be what you particularly need. And if you need help getting started with figuring that out, hit me up. We'll do a little bit of testing, figure out where you actually have deficiencies or imbalances and what your unique body needs to get into balance. Okay, so I'm going to share my top 3 in my top 10 list. So number 1 is magnesium. I have talked about magnesium a lot in this channel. It is used for over 300 different biological processes. And it's often one of the first things that we become deficient in our bodies. And so every woman really needs to be taking a high quality magnesium supplement. Now in my blog post, I'll go more into detail about the different forms of magnesium. There are several different kinds and they have different effects on the body. So you want to make sure that you're taking the right kind of magnesium along with the right type of dosing, but it can be really helpful for problems such as sleep issues, anxiety, depression, brain fog, digestive problems, just to name a few. All right, second supplement, vitamin D. It's one of the few nutrients that are needed for more processes in the body than even magnesium. And when we think of vitamin D, the first thing we normally think of is, oh, we get it from the sun. But nowadays, most of us are not in the sun enough to get enough vitamin D. We're just not. And so we generally need a high quality supplement. There's a way you should take vitamin D. It's ideally combined with a healthy fat as well as vitamin K to promote effective absorption in the body. And I'll go into more detail on that on Thursday as well. Vitamin D is really important for immune system regulation. So especially if you have any sort of autoimmune tendencies, any sort of thyroid issues in particular, or hormone balances in general, you really want to be thinking about a high quality vitamin D supplement at the right dosage for you and your needs. Probiotics. Now, probiotic rich foods are the bomb. They're awesome, but you still have to know how to eat those. Kimchi, sauerkraut, goat's milk kefir, for example, a really high quality miso can all be amazing sources of probiotics that you should be including in your diet every single day, hands down, no doubt. However, if you have an imbalance or a dysbiosis in the gut, eating your probiotics might not quite be enough to kind of dig you out of that hole and get the therapeutic balance that you need. Candida can be another issue that you might be trying to fight off where you need a therapeutic dose. I highly recommend spore-based probiotics. There's a lot of research that's been done that shows that spore-based probiotics have a higher percent of which survives the stomach acid and actually reaches where you need it to work, which is your small and large intestine. Highly recommend Microbiome Labs for all things digestive related. They are a research-based company and I love them. So probiotics is my number 3. So if you want to know the rest of the top 10 and the additional 7, stick with me this week. Check out my blog post on Thursday and have a wonderful week. Bye, everybody.